I am master of my world. I am the victorious intelligence governing it. I send forth into my world this mighty, radiant, intelligent energy of God. I command it to create all perfection, to draw me to the opulence of God made visible in my hands and use. I am no longer the babe of Christ, but the master presence grown to full stature, and I speak and command with authority. Quote, I am Discourses by Saint Germain.
I didn't see you there.
It all started early this morning.
From hunting ghosts to Bigfoot, UFOs,
Cryptids, true crime, paranormal, and more.
I've always wanted to see a UFO.
Oh, I was researching for your entertainment.
That's Bigfoot's cat.
He basically wrote the book on monarchy.
We aren't really comedians.
What if Buddha did cocaine?
The Addams Family on meth. This is the Black Cat Report.
See you on the other side.
Welcome to the Black Cat Report in episode 109. I am Joey, and with me is the podcastaneer, armchair wrestler extraordinaire, and he actually does not know this yet, but he won the Buffon Award for the best MUFON investigator, Gil. You won, buddy.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, when you said Buffon, I immediately thought you were talking about the other award that I got for boofing. But that's
different.
That's
area
a different
of
story. And
yeah.
I'm not sure if we can live stream. Actually, here, let me pull it up. Hold on one second. I'll show you guys me winning the Buffon Award. Just give me.
Okay,
this
perfect.
is a patron exclusive.
Yep,
right
if you're
here.
watching. Beautiful. Beautiful.
This is the part where they wanted an encore. This is when I didn't give it to them.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to mention that this will be our last episode in Time Traveler Month, this part 2. And Gil and I will be getting our minds out of the time travel brain, like we said, and maybe into something a little more grounded. We also wanted to thank our Patreon members for being live with us, watching us as we record this. You too can watch us live via our Patreon as we are recording. You can also watch full unedited episodes on video with a certain tier of our Patreon. And we also wanted to mention our Indiegogo campaign for our paranormal investigation we are trying to do in Hopkinsville. Gil, you want to talk about this?
Thank you, Joey. Yeah, so really quick breakdown here. $5. That $5 will get you access to the private live stream. And honestly, it's your key to what might be a first-of-its-kind investigation. So on September 28th this year, the crew of Beer, Booze, and Boogeyman, we're all going to be going to Hopkinsville, Kentucky to investigate a notoriously haunted Civil War-era house. We're getting the whole goddamn house to ourselves, and we're staying there all night. And we'll be having more stuff in the future about just how fucked up and haunted this place is. But the point is, we're going to be breaking grounds, not just in the fact that the house has never been publicly investigated. We will be the first, but also in the fact of how we're approaching the investigation. So our idea is to bring the folks sitting at home, just listening. We want to bring them into the investigation. Now, how are we going to do that? We're going to set up cameras all over the freaking house, along with microphones. We're going to have individual cameras with each one of us. So it'll be Kristen, Damien, Joey, and myself. We'll all have, cameras with us, but then there'll also be stationary cameras around the house. Now, this is important because 99.99% of the time when you watch investigation shows on TV like Ghost Hunters and stuff like that, they're like, after careful review of the evidence, and it's like 19 weeks after the investigation they found out that there was activity in another room that the team wasn't even in at the time. You're going to be able to see that. Furthermore, you're going to be able to hear better than we are because you're going to actually be able to listen through the microphones. We're not going to be able to listen through mics while the investigation's going on. Those are two key components of paranormal investigations that, frankly, only come to light after hours of grueling editing and listening and checking of every single camera and all the audio. You're going to be able to hear it live, and you're going to be able to tell us, hey, you need to get the fuck up to the second floor bathroom, or you need to go do this because there's shit going on there right now. Furthermore, that's the access that you're going to be getting at $5. You'll be getting access to the private live stream, which is quite literally going to be a night-long event. So don't tell me you're too busy or something. Eventually, you're going to be laying down in bed, and what better time to watch a super haunted, creepy-ass paranormal live stream and Joey, Kristen, and I, and Debo's just running around like some kind of fucked up version of Scooby-Doo in this haunted house in Kentucky, right? So yeah, so for $25, you get the ability to actually direct us, to tell us where to go, the questions to ask spirits during the different types of investigation techniques that we're engaging in, the equipment that we use, who goes to what room, like literally treat us like The Sims. We are asking you to. That's for $25, cheap as hell. I guess the best way I could say to put it is don't view it as a donation, view it as a ticket. However close you get us to this investigation, we're going to bring you to this investigation. So $5, you get in on the private live stream. You're chatting with tons of other people that are also all down in the paranormal community and are interested in this. You're getting to chat with them. It's going to be active. You guys are going to be able to ask questions of us during it. $25, we're throwing polls at you. You're telling Joey to sleep in the basement, anything that you want. So that's really the goal of all this is we don't want it to just be something that you have to sit back and watch. If you want to sit back and watch,
You can do that.
Fuck yeah, go ahead. Yeah, 100%. But if you want to be devious, which we here at Black Hat Report strongly encourage, then
Yes.
be fucking devious. But the point is, you get to help make history, right? But all this awesome shit is only going to happen, to be honest, if we can afford to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's $750 to rent the house for all of us, right? And we're renting the entire fucking house. Kristen's got to fly in from Washington State, and Damien, Joey, and I, we all have to drive there. So we have a goal of $2,500. And that's honestly kind of like barely enough to be able to afford food while we're there, because some of the perks that we have, which you can find if you go to ghost.beer/join, which will be at the top of the show notes. Some of the perks that we have is custom koozies, signed, photographs of the whole crew together. Like,
Cool stuff.
we're actually going to be giving out merch and stuff like that too. So that's kind of part of it. But basically, my plan is to live on hot and readies, and not because I normally do, but because I have to in this situation.
He also normally does.
We're not asking for a lot. We know the economy is bullshit right now. We know we're all broke, but hey, if you can, please throw in $5, help make some paranormal history, and join us for a night of debauchery, investigations, and watching us get the shit scared out of us as we're actively investigating the exact same kind of crap that we cover so confidently here every week. That's about it. So just go to ghost.beer/join. That's ghost.beer/join. The link will be at the top of the show notes. Super easy to get there. Seriously, for a gallon and a half of gas, right, depending on which state you live in, you can get us there, and we can bring you there. So please, if you can, that'd be fucking awesome. Let's make history.
Thanks for that, Gil. I appreciate it. Well, now let's get right back into Saint Germain's story.
Hell yeah.
I also wanted to give the sources for this episode and the last episode, which is Comte de Saint Germain by Isabel Cooper Oakley, published in 1912, as well as a whole list of websites that are listed in the show notes because I had to wade through the weeds on this one. Well, when we last left Saint Germain, he had run through a bunch of pop-ins in history. He was arrested as a Jacobite spy and released. He helped King Louis XV with secret peace treaties. He helped put Catherine the Great into power in Russia over Tsar Peter, initiated Cagliostro into the Freemasons, and did a bunch of cool alchemy metal transformations. Then, well, he died. Or, as I said at the end, maybe he didn't. Well, it said in the last part of part 1, according to a Catholic Church death notice, Saint Germain died in 1784. Well, if we want to say if that's the end of the story and his life, I guess we wouldn't have done a second episode on him.
Shortest part 2 ever. All right, y'all. We love you guys.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Well, Saint Germain was not exactly done there, Gil. And it's time he
Oh.
makes another pop-in back in history, 4 years after his death. In 1788, Saint Germain, back from the dead apparently, came striding into the Palace of Versailles. Most people wide-eyed looking at him, wondering how this person, who literally had just died 4 years ago, was walking into the palace. Well,
Is that a chicken with a vest?
there he is. And our famous character from last episode, Herbert.
Herbert.
Well, King Louis XVI had known the Count Saint Germain from the dealings with his father and immediately knew that this was the real deal Saint Germain.
Shit.
Even though, obviously, he wondered how this could be. You know, it's almost like you're seeing a ghost.
Yo, that's kind of nuts, though, because like you said so many times in part 1 about how much of an impact he made on literally everybody, from paupers and poor folks to the highest in aristocracy and royalty. There was nobody that was untouched by the charm of his like genuine kind of
Yeah.
well-being and like nature, you know? So that means that this king kind of like grew up hearing about Saint Germain. And this is in a world where he's being trained in like royalty and the importance of this person and the dynamics of this country and all the politics and all the bullshit. But in between all of that was his dad, the king, yelling at his mom for the potential affair that she had with Herbert the whole fucking time.
Oh,
and
God.
so he
All
grew up
day.
hearing.
Yeah.
No, but to be able to recognize him as genuine,
Yep.
you know, really does mean that he was schooled in Saint Germain.
Yep.
You know, that's
Had to have met him.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
Yep.
Like,
Well-
this dude is quite literally a walking legend.
Yes, he is a literally walking legend. Well, Saint Germain wasn't just coming to them with good tidings. It was a warning that he brought. This is how their
shit.
conversation went. Saint Germain. And it is in the gravity of the circumstances that I find this boldness. I have not come with the intention of paying homage to the queen, of which she must be weary, but indeed to point out to her the dangers which threaten her crown, if prompt measures are not taken to avert them. Marie Antoinette. You are positive, monsieur? Saint Germain. I am deeply aggrieved to displease your majesty, but I can only speak the truth. Marie Antoinette. Monsieur, the true, perhaps, may sometimes not be the probable. Saint Germain. I admit, madame, that this is the case in point, but your majesty will permit me in my turn to remind you that Cassandra foretold the ruin of Troy, and that they refused to believe it. I am Cassandra. France is the kingdom of Priam. Some years will yet pass by in a deceitful calm. Then from all parts of this kingdom will up men greedy for vengeance, for power, and for money. They will overthrow all in their way. The seditious populace and some great members of the state will lend them support. A spirit of delirium will take possession of the citizens. Civil war will burst out with all its horrors. It will bring its train murder, pillage, exile. Then it will be regretted that I was not listened to. Perhaps I shall be asked for again. But the time will be past. The storm will have swept all before it. Isn't that right, Herbert? Damn straight. Well, Saint Germain was warning Marie Antoinette.
Okay, are you about to explain what the fuck all that meant? Because that was like...
That's a lot of rambling.
I don't know what the...
but
it was a lot of...
Oh, it's old style speak. He's just... Literally, Saint Germain was warning Marie Antoinette that the time of reckoning was coming. He's basically saying, look, all people view you in this way. And I know you don't think people view you in this way, but I see it. All these people see how other people look at you. The populace, the small folk, if we can take a House of the Dragon quote of what they called people.
We can.
And medieval.
Yeah.
They call it like they're small folk. They don't care what they think for the most part because they're like, hey, I'm just gonna do what I do anyways. By God, I was given this queendom.
By God.
You know, I was given this royalty So what are they going to do? What does it matter what they do?
So basically, she's like she's delusional. She's detached from the actual population she's supposed to be representing and like leading and making decisions for and all this shit like that. Yeah. And he's just kind of like, hey, it's normal for royalty to be somewhat delusional, but like you're kind of at risk of losing your head.
Yeah.
And then they like fist bumped. You know what I'm saying? Because they both knew what was coming and they both, yeah.
Herbert knew, exactly. Well, it's here that I want to add in that from the first episode, remember Antonio Cagliostro, who Saint Germain had initiated and mentored into the Freemasons. Well, his part in this, as I said in the first episode, was a thing called the Affair of the Diamond Necklace, was pretty much the nail in the coffin for Marie Antoinette's reputation with the people. And I had talked offline to Gil about it. And, you know, I didn't really want to get into it all the way, but I can kind of give you a brief summary real quick so you understand. Well, King Louis XV, which was Louis XVI, who we're talking about now, father, had a mistress, and he loved her, so he created this necklace. This necklace, in today's money, was worth $17 million. So
$17
million. And before he could receive the diamond necklace, King Louis XV, to give to his mistress, he died of smallpox. And, you know, check a guess where that came
small
from.
Smallpox.
Yeah, smallpox. And so nobody knew about it. So then, except for a few people that were in the French aristocracy,
jewelry industry.
Jewelry industry too.
Gotcha.
So the Cardinal de Rohan, who was doesn't say he was a cardinal, he was just a French ambassador. So I don't know why he would be the.
He was
cardinal
literally
of
a cardinal.
Rohan. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a title. It was quite literally a genus.
Herbert got him there. So, so he forged a note. Supposedly, this is the biggest thing. He forged a note that said the Queen wants this jewelry. Right. The Queen wants the jewelry.
I can't read this. It's all in Sanskrit. Who wrote this?
The Queen wanted the jewelry, and that they should continue making it. And so they finished making it. They sent the jewelry there to the Cardinal, or to the Queen. The Queen was like, I didn't order this. And they found out that the note to get this was forged, right? So, and this was Queen Marie Antoinette. Found the note was forged. So they went to trial, and they threw Cagliostro in jail. They threw the Cardinal de Rohan in jail, and they gave them a trial. And they were all found not guilty. So because they were found not guilty, everybody thought that Marie Antoinette was the blame. Like, she just basically threw them under the bus so that she could actually get this piece of jewelry. And it made her look so bad.
So, like, yeah, she was, like, kind of already at the edge of the flat earth, and this, like, really just pushed her over the ice wall.
Basically. Well, funny enough, Saint Germain had predicted this to the T. Marie Antoinette was, as most people know, beheaded in October 1793, about 5 years after Saint Germain's warning.
It's one of my favorite beheadings.
Yeah, exactly. Which, to be fair, he literally told her all would come to pass. There was murder, pillage, exile, and the death of the Bourbon monarchy. Pretty much the end of it. And so nobody listened to him. Well, God, I do want to ask you a question. Is your finger ready?
Yeah.
Can you guess what time it is?
Are you trying to tell me it's time travel time, baby?
Hell yeah. Woo! Hell yeah. It's time travel time, baby, because now we're going to warp back a few years to get back just right after he died. Just a year after his death. We're going to jump into 1785. Saint Germain is supposedly dead, but ends up being chosen as the representative for the Freemasons convention in Germany. He's dead for a year, so it doesn't matter.
That's going to be awkward. Yeah.
And it is there that he meets Franz Mesmer, or Anton Mesmer. And from all accounts, Saint Germain is the one who gave Mesmer the idea for hypnotism and personal magnetism, or animal magnetism, if you want to call it that.
Is this where the word mesmerize comes from?
It is.
I had no clue. That's kind of awesome.
It is. Well, if Saint Germain teaching Franz Mesmer the ideas for hypnotism and personal/animal magnetism is true, then Saint Germain was the indirect inventor of the placebo effect. This is a crazy connection, right? Okay, so
what the fuck?
Yeah, this is so crazy to talk about.
So his pills were as real as his diamonds. It was like, here's some diamonds, cubic zirconia. Here's some pills, sugar.
Well, this is the connection that I'm going to bring to you, right? So, because King Louis the 16th, he didn't really think that Franz Mesmer was real. Like the hypnotism and magnetism was real.
Franz Mesmer's not real. He can't hurt you. Meanwhile, he's in the corner with like literal swirly gig eyes, just like waving a pocket watch, and he's like,
Yeah. You're mesmerized. He does it every
the
time.
chicken's telling me I'm getting sleepy.
Because King Louis XVI had his doctors look into Mesmer to see if his theories were correct, and in doing so, the doctors blindfolded half of the patients and then let the other half of them see. Because the idea behind his theories, it's so weird. The idea behind his theories is that you can heal somebody and heal like psychosis through like touching them in the chest, and it's like there's some weird Reiki stuff with it too.
Okay.
I think
Reiki, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And it's like part of it is that, and so they found that if the people that were blindfolded, it didn't work, but the people that could see, part of it worked. So this is the literal placebo effect that they found, and then they started using that. So this is why he's the indirect creator of it.
I really hope that it was just like, okay, now, Harold, I have an idea to prove whether or not he's a real hypnotist. What I'm going to need you to do is to lead the world's first double-blind study. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a blindfold onto the subject, and you are going to walk into the room also blindfolded. And then what we're going to do is we're going to see if he can hypnotize them while they are both blindfolded. You and them and me and my sister and my cousin-in-law, who, just became an adult, by the way. But that's a different story. The point is...
Double blind.
The point is, Harold, I'm going to need you to do this and prove to me that he's not real. I don't care if you're afraid of the dark, Harold. I need you to do this for me. Yes, I'll build you the coop. God damn.
Oh no, we're back in Russia. Oh my God, it happened again in France. The coup. The coup happened again in France. No, people, I told you, not a coup, a coop, chicken coop. Oh. Whoops. You want some cake?
You really need to enunciate. I gotta tell you that. I mean, we all love your accent. Don't we love his accent? Yeah.
We do.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Sexy. Yeah, we love it. But I'm just going to say, sometimes you're a little bit soft on the lettering, if you know what I mean. Shut up. Herbert, don't agree with them. You know I can't tell the difference between an R and an S in Sanskrit. Yes, I've been studying. God damn it, everybody's on my case this week.
Love it.
You know they had bad times. Like, you know that at some point, like...
They argued. They had to argue. Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
they had to argue.
Oh,
yes.
Dear Lord. Like Cucci and his friend at the gas station, but it's just like... It's just Herbert and Saint Germain just walking down some fucking, like, fanciful country road in Europe. Yes, that's what I told her. Well, I mean, I tried to connect with her, but it just seems like she wasn't very interested in me. God damn it. Why do I... sometimes, Herbert, it just kind of feels like, why do I even have a thought in my mind when I have a friend like you to guide me? It just takes his little wing, pats it on the back of his leg. He's like, thank you, Herbert. Thank you, Herbert. Do you, you want to go to Denny's? Yes, let's go to Denny's.
Meanwhile, he's got the jewel, the $17 million jewel. Herbert's got the $17 million jewel in his back.
Herbert's just wearing just so much fucking bling.
Yeah.
Hey, just giving solid advice to his friend.
Yeah. Saint Germain was wearing all the bling. Herbert's got to be, he's got to keep up, you know? Well, it's again time to do a little fast forward in years.
Wait a second. Does that mean it's time travel time, baby?
Hell yeah. We are going to jump to 1914. Saint Germain is in the trenches on the front line of war fighting for the French. He is
Jesus
captured.
Christ. That accelerated really fast.
Yes. He is captured by 2 Bavarian or German soldiers, Bavarian German. Well, as they're checking him for weapons to make sure he isn't going to pull a gun or a knife out and kill them, they start asking him questions to ascertain where he is from and who he is. And obviously, Saint Germain does not answer who he is or where he is from. And though clearly he's wearing a French army uniform.
Saint Germain doesn't talk to the police.
No. Hey,
Yeah.
You know what? No, hell no. Herbert's like nudging him like, don't ever say a word.
But seriously, though, like, at this point in time, being born in 1660 or 1760, I don't remember. Anyways,
Where he was born? When he was
hundreds.
born? 1660, 70, 80, around that time.
16, yeah, hundreds of years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
If he did, at that point, in being a mortal time traveler with a chicken sidekick, right?
Yep.
Or the sidekick of an immortal time traveling chicken.
That makes more sense.
If he just told the truth, nobody would believe him. Like, he can live an
They'd
honest
laugh.
life and just be like, yes, I was born in 1660. Have you heard of Catherine the Great? Yeah, I heard about. Well, she was, to be quite honest, slightly above mediocre. She really had a hard time listening to advice and just never hire her to build a coop. Anyways, it would have been a weird interrogation if he was just honest the whole time. He had to lie.
And sometimes that can be real life's lessons. Sometimes you just have to lie. So
you just gotta lie,
you just
baby.
gotta lie. That is a quote from Herbert. Well, as they're interrogating him, right, he starts to speak in different languages randomly. And then he finally settled in on German, Bavarian, interchangeable, to speak to the soldiers because that's what they spoke. Even though he was randomly talking about things, they were just like, whatever, they let him continue because, well, he spoke their native language, and it intrigued the 2 soldiers.
Yeah.
Everything seemed random until Saint Germain started talking about the war. I want to quote what he said to these 2 soldiers because if I were them, I would listen too. This war will end in 1918. After the confetti money will come the Antichrist. He will lead Germany into another global war in 1939, but will be defeated 6 years on after doing inhuman, unspeakable things. Then, Saint Germain started to sing, and then he started weeping. That's scary.
I feel like at this point in time, he was in his 80s goth era. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. What's that one song? The Smiths. The Smiths. They're one of their hit songs.
I'm miserable. Literally any Smith song. I should.
No, please let me get what I want. This was
Shut up, Morrissey. All right.
This was definitely his Smiths era. Well, after hearing Saint Germain say this, the 2 Bavarian soldiers just let him go. I mean, to be fair, if I heard something so specific and then something that maybe is likely to happen, I would just be like, yeah, I don't want to know anymore. Just go. Just please go. We're about to die anyway, so.
Actually, they were just like, hold on, a message is coming through. We just got orders to leave immediately. Oh, apparently we're supposed to leave the prisoners here. We have to go. Okay, we're leaving. And they just like ran off into the distance, and he just looked over. He's like, good job, Herbie. Herbie's just like screaming into a dead soldier's helmet so it echoes back. And he's like, yes, it does work every time.
Every time. Oh, well, yeah, that's what he's... his prediction obviously hit the nail right on the head, just like telling Marie Antoinette about her downfall. But I do want to ask this question. What was Saint Germain's end goal in this, right?
That's true.
What was his end goal? What he's telling these 2 people that, honestly, if they're just Bavarian soldiers, what does he expect them to do? Like, is is he just kind of giving up? Like, that's kind of how I see it. Is like he's kind of giving up.
Yeah.
Like, Kyuchi didn't give up. Kyuchi went for a better future.
Oh,
He's
hell
actually
no.
he's making it happen.
Yeah, quite literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a really good question, because that's the thing, is like, if he is aware of the future, right, Saint Germain, if he's aware of the future, he knows just one of the most like chaos-ridden, dangerous places on the planet at that time is anywhere that warfare is taking place during World War I. Like, classic fucking trench warfare.
The battlefields of France,
like,
yes.
homie, you can't even, like, that's this thing, like, it's bad luck to light 3 cigarettes off of the same match. Like, I don't know if anybody else knows that. That's a new thing to worry about, but that came from the fact that the amount of time that it took for a sniper to like zero in on you was about the amount of time that it took to light 3 cigarettes with one match. So you could only light 2, right? Like, this is one of the most horrible places on the fucking planet. Right?
Yeah.
And he's just there just being like, yep, I'm just a regular fucking soldier. Fuck it. I don't care anymore. Like, I feel like he's just like living off of spite at this point.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
I just thinking about
Maybe
this
that's
too.
the key to eternal life.
True. I'm just thinking about this too, and it kind of just popped into my head. Maybe he can't control where he ends up.
Oh.
Because the way
Herbert's
I
driving?
see it, yeah, like the way I see it is like, who would jump right into that moment and in that spot, you know? Because like if somebody knew that was going to happen, obviously a time traveler is going to be like, no, I'm not jumping into there. I'll jump into like 1919 after the war's over, and they've kind of demilitarized that zone. So maybe he just can't control it, and maybe that's something that he just. He remembers all this happening. This is why I kind of go back to his eidetic memory, is that he knew all this is going to happen, and he maybe just ended up there and was like, okay, well, I got to try to say something to get out of this, and to like, so they just don't try to kill me, and then they're looking at me like they can't kill me, or I get captured and I'm just literally sitting in a spot where I can't get out, you know? Maybe it was his way. He was like, okay, if I say this, I'm going to be able to get away.
That kind of tracks, because I think this is just a theory on top of your very well-founded theory, right? So, like, at this
Just
point...
now.
wait, we are sitting at the top of a Jenga tower, right?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
But maybe... All right, so you know how with Tsuruhiko Kyuchi, like, in the middle of thinking about going somewhere, he was there. Like, literally, there was like, over and over, and that was something that I had translated from his interviews and from all his texts and stuff, was that there was no transition, right? Which is why so many times I tried to just, in the middle of a fucking sentence, continue into the next, whatever. It's a very hard thing to describe. Well, with the way that Saint Germain just started blabbering, right? And first off, this is a little bit questionable. Why did he have to guess languages when other soldiers were likely in uniform?
Yeah.
Right? Because he should have known that. I mean, somebody that's literally historically known as being so goddamn well cultured around everything should know those are Bavarian soldiers. 100%. He should know that immediately. And, maybe not. Maybe they were all covered in mud. I don't know. But I'm just saying. Yeah. But I'm sure at the point of them pointing guns at him and shit like that, and by the time he started talking, he heard them speak, and if you know a language, you're like, oh, that's that language, Yeah. But, okay, so that's questionable. So he's a little bit off his game already. But he starts blabbering, right? Just, like, telling them the future and all this shit after guessing 4, 5, 6 languages. And then he starts singing and crying. So connect that back to the fact that Kyuchi realized that if you just think it, you're there. Right? And you got to be careful with that. And then the way he was acting, I think Count Saint Germain was absolutely shit-faced hammered. And
Could
ended
be.
up in
Could
World
be.
War I. Like, that sounds like something you would do at a bar. And you know what? Fuck it. Like,
let's do it. I'm going to tell you everything.
Your ex-wife, let me tell you, she was an ex a lot longer than you knew she was. All right, so she was hooking up with this dude over there.
Bruh.
Owner of a lonely heart.
This is my song. This is my song.
Of a lonely heart. That also explains the fact why the soldiers are like, yeah, we're just gonna. They're fighting their own wars right now. We're
they
just gonna
got
leave
battles
them.
we don't know anything about. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a different
They're
battle.
fighting their own battle.
Yeah. Godspeed.
Oof. You know what? I always said never kick them when they're down, but like, what do you do when they live down there? I can't do this. Anyways, you want to go
yeah.
get pretzel? Yeah, let's go get pretzel.
And do you get the bitches?
Anyways.
Yes, bitches?
We'll go to my auntie's house. Anne? Yes, Auntie Anne. Why does he keep talking about Colonel Sanders? I don't.
You just wait. Well, well, honestly, I also think that maybe he just kind of figured that no matter what he did, it wouldn't stop it.
Yeah, I would feel that way too after like countless kings and queens and royalty and shit just straight up. It's like you were the nicest, most trustworthy person you could possibly be, to the point that you worked your way up repeatedly into the highest levels of leadership and authority and, you know, proved your worth and made a point to never back down on it. And motherfucker still wouldn't listen to you.
And she, in effect, just laughed him out of the room, which is just kind of, after he dropped those bombs on her, she just kind of was like, nah, laughed him out of the room. Well, Gil, you want to get your finger ready?
It's time travel time, baby.
Hell yeah. Woo! Again, we are going to time travel, this time going all the way back to 1821, where a journalist named Albert Van Dam said that Saint Germain went by another name. This name was Major Fraser. Van Dam wrote in his memoir that, quote, he called himself Major Fraser, lived alone, and never alluded to his family. Moreover, he was lavish with money, though the source of his fortune remained a mystery to everyone. He possessed a marvelous knowledge of all the countries in Europe at all periods. His memory was absolutely incredible, and curiously enough, he often gave his hearers to understand that he had acquired his learning elsewhere than from books. Many is the time he has told me with a strange smile, does that sound familiar, that he was certain he had known Nero, had spoken with Dante, and so on.
Whoa.
And without a warning nor a word, Major Fraser disappeared without a trace. He just packed up and left, and nobody knew what happened to him again. This really does sound like Saint Germain, honestly. Just the sly smile and being like, I'm knowing all this stuff. It's pretty cool. Hey, Gil, do you know what time it is?
It's time travel time, baby.
Hell yeah. Woo! Yeah. So we are going to time travel again to 1896 and meet up with Madame Blavatsky. Madame Blavatsky, who created the Theosophical Society. Blavatsky claimed she was studying under Saint Germain and trying to learn his secrets to meditation, time travel, eternal life, all those small things, right?
The basics.
The basics. There is a photo of the two of them together. Well, it's Madame Blavatsky and three masters, one of which is Saint Germain. Now, I really did some research into this photo, right? It's not a real photo. It's not a real photo.
Shit.
It's not a real photo. I know. I was excited to see it. I was excited to just look at this and be like, damn, that's like Madame Blavatsky. That's Saint Germain. That's two other people I didn't recognize their names.
Tom
Russell.
Cruise, Betty White, Dwayne the Brock Johnson, which was a later career for Herbert.
Snoop Dogg. He was there.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, obviously, but I'm just saying,
Ascended Master.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Joey, look, we don't generally dive into conspiracies here on the Black Cab.
Oh, we don't?
We don't generally dive into conspiracies, theories, or anything, I would say, fringe from reality, right?
Correct.
Are you trying to say here, right now, on this episode, and I really want you to think about this, you are under oath. Are you trying to tell me that there is an image circulating on the World Wide Web right now that might be falsely depicting a historical event? Is that what you're claiming Joey?
Yes, that is what I'm
Think
claiming.
about your words.
I am claiming. Hand to Germain. I'm claiming that.
Okay. Hey, all right.
Yeah,
Trust you.
well-
It's getting hard. It's getting hard. We might not make it to episode 110 with talk like that, but
True.
I trust you got the references.
This
That's all
is
I'm
what I
saying.
found.
Okay,
It's
so
literally not a photograph. It is a drawing that somebody made of them. Well, to be fair, there might have been a photo. No, there wasn't. I'm not going to be fair. I'm not going to give a second side of this. There was not a photo. It was just a caricature of them. It was just a caricature of them. Like, you can literally get on the side. Like,
it was one of those like those beach artists
Yeah,
that you see in like
yeah,
cities
yeah.
and shit like that. It's just like overly blown out nose and this and that and the other.
No, and it's the funny part is if Madame Blavatsky, who was sitting down in it, and the masters
Yeah.
were behind her standing up, if she had stood up,
Yeah.
she would have been about 6'7", 6'10", because one of the other masters is supposedly six really tall. He's like 6'6", 6'7", and the way that the it's rendered, the way that it's drawn is that if her legs and she
Yeah.
stood up, she would be taller than all of them. So it's like it's just a caricature of all these people. It's not
Yeah.
a real photo. And it's funny that we get into this because this is a little side quest. This is like Saint
I'm
Germain
loving it.
getting drunk, and just ending up on a battlefield, which is probably his side quest. And then he fucking turned these two Bavarian soldiers' lives around by telling them, hey, your leader's going to do some real bad things. If you survive, which you probably won't because this is World War I and most people, a good chunk of people died.
I don't know if you were planning this. We never explained these masters to anybody. We never explained the masters that you're talking about. Do you want me to take this or do you got this?
Give it to him. Give it to him. Give it to him.
All right.
Drop it. Drop some knowledge.
So, Joey, brief summary to explain what and who Joey's talking about when he's saying masters. He's talking about the ascended masters. This is a theosophical belief that all around the world, and, hey, message us if I butcher this, because I actually do want to do an episode about this someday. But backtrack, all around the world, all throughout time and history, there have been these people, in huge air quotes, that have been born who ascend, who go past the realms of general human potential and kind of exist as these cultural, spiritual, religious, educational, like beacons of evolution for humanity. So like Buddha, Muhammad, Jesus,
Mary.
Quetzalcoatl, Mary. Maybe.
Yeah,
Actually,
she is
I've
one of
never
them,
heard
yep.
of a woman as an ascended
She is.
master. Okay,
Mary, the
cool.
mother of Jesus.
They're letting
Enoch.
They're letting chicks. They're letting No, she's not Enoch. That's a totally different thing. They're letting chicks in now. That's cool.
No, Enoch is a master. Enoch is a master, too. Lady
Yeah,
Master
so
Nada.
This is starting to sound like some anime that I watched. Anyways, so basically, think about all of the
Probably based on
religious figures and heads and shit like that you've heard about through history. The ones that they wrote books about and then now kill each other over their concept of peace. Think about all that brilliant shit. So all of the people throughout history that you could think of that really just fucking like Nikola Tesla and shit that just like go way the fuck past human potential even now. Currently that we still fucking talk about. It's part of a grand cosmic program that helps lead and drive the evolution of the human species. Those folks are called the Ascended Masters. It is a very down and dirty summary of it, but it's all the greats coming together for one last score, basically. It's one big fucking collection of the greatest people on Earth that ever influenced anybody who just seem like untouchable in terms of like trying to meet their skills. Grandmasters are a cool concept. I think they are. But yeah.
Well, now that we've gone into the Ascended Masters and we have described what they are, we're going to hop back into that time travel machine again. And we're going to go fast this time. We're not even going to step out of the machine for these years.
It's time travel time, baby.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. It's in between 600 and 530 BC, and one of Moses' great-grandsons gives the staff of Moses to Count Saint Germain in Babylon.
It's time travel time, baby.
Hell yeah.
It's now 1545, and Count Saint Germain is dining in Trento, Italy with the Council of Trent.
It's time travel time, baby.
Hell yeah.
It's now 1776 in Philadelphia at the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and Saint Germain stands up and gives a riveting speech so everyone is galvanized to sign the Declaration of Independence, and then mysteriously disappears even though all the doors were locked.
It's time travel time, baby.
Hell yeah.
It's now August 1930 in Mount Shasta, California, and Saint Germain meets Guy Ballard and inspires him to start the I Am activity cult, which has over 1 million members and still exists today.
It's time travel time, baby.
Hell yeah.
It's now 1870, and Emperor Napoleon III creates a special commission to investigate Saint Germain, and a year later, a mysterious
What?
fire burns down the building, and all the evidence inside is gone. It was Herbert.
Herbert just walking away with a tiny gas can. Thanks, Herb. I owe you for this one. They just had all of his child support paperwork there. He's like,
It's gone. Damn.
2 for 1. That's what I call that. High five. It just like collateral like luck. The fact that Saint Germain's like research and shit that is like
Is all
ugh.
in there.
No, it's just Herbert in a tiny black ski mask with a fucking like tiny little thing of gasoline. Just like, what the deuce is that chicken doing? Is that a? Wait a second. Is that a mask? I do believe this wine that we got from the Western Province might be laced with something. I was a little bit curious earlier when the merchant sold us to it so cheap. Flashback to like 1 hour earlier. So you're saying to me that we can have this and the rest of the army won't know? I mean, I know that we get, 1.5 liters a day, but that's just not enough in times like these. I really need to settle my nerves. Bark, 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 bark. Really? From the wine region? Bark, 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 bark. It's people like you that are honestly saints in society. Oh, yes, your friend's the saint. That's right. You are way too modest. Later, we need to get a drink together. I'll be sleeping well, you say.
Well, now that we've weaved in and out of years and stepped outside of our time travel device for a bit, let's get into some of the theories about Count Saint Germain. Now, there's definitely a dearth of different theories surrounding this man. Unlike Kiyuchi, he is a little bit more mysterious in his ways. He never had kids or a wife. It was noted too, and I don't remember if I said in the last episode, that he never ate. Nobody ever saw him eat anything.
What?
It's a weird thing. Yeah, no one ever saw him eat anything.
But he like pseudo died at a dinner at the end of the last episode.
But he didn't eat. He didn't eat. They noted that he did not eat a thing. He just came in there and was talking to these people. He did drink. Okay, so people said he never ate, but he drank. He drank a shit ton.
A lot. Enough to end up in different wars.
Yeah. He drank a lot. And I mean, that was as the time.
I feel like we have the same diet. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I feel like
good.
95% of the people in Nashville. Yeah. Hey, he's immortal. Yeah, he lived there. 90% of the people in Nashville don't eat. They just do Coke and
but they do drink. And they do end up in the middle of wars with a chicken as their best friend.
I feel like this is just connecting to everybody. Well, he was a mysterious person as there ever was. And I guess that's why so many people wanted to know about him, and they created all these theories about him. Well, I want to get into the first theory that I found. This is basically the theory of how he became who he was, an immortal, right?
Okay.
The first one is that Saint Germain is the wandering Jew, if you've ever heard of that story, right?
Nope.
Okay. Now, if you don't know the story, which to be fair, I didn't know the story before looking into it, the wandering Jew was named Cartaphilus. This man was Pontius Pilate's doorkeeper, And as Jesus was on his way to Calvary, basically after he got thrown out and asked for refuge, Cartaphilus told him, "Nah, go faster." Basically shooing him on, like, you can't have him here. And he hit him. He knocked him down. That's one of the stories. That's who Cartaphilus is.
That doesn't sound very Saint Germain-y.
No, and see,
you know what I'm saying? He's not really known for just like hitting people. Actually, he's not known for being judgmental against people regardless of their status in society or hitting anybody.
Nope. Well, Jesus replied to Cartaphilus, "I go and you will wait until I return."
Whoa.
So basically, this gave the rise to the idea that Cartaphilus became immortal because he has to wait till Jesus returns. And so this was the idea that Cartaphilus became immortal. Well, this gave rise to the idea, obviously, like we just said, that Cartaphilus became immortal and then just started wandering, unable to die. And then eventually, in the late 1600s and 1700s, changed his name to Saint Germain. For this theory, I'm just going to give this a nice toss into the garbage. Because first off, the story itself was eventually used as propaganda for the Nazis to answer, in quotations, the Jewish question. And I don't believe that the story actually happened. I don't think Saint Germain, I don't think that there was a person that kicked Jesus walking Okay, we're not going to get into that. I think it was just used. Well, I still stand by the origin story that he was actually the son of Prince Ragosi because it just makes too much sense to me comparative to how the other side works. And I'd like to think that he learned to meditate and time travel through his time in Persia and then in India, because it kind of actually lines up with a lot of the timing of events, that he just started popping up in major historical events right after he went to Persia to learn how to meditate, and India and Tibet and those places where he learned. So I feel like he kind of learned there and then went there instead of it actually being Kickin' Jesus. Pretty much. That's a cool band name.
Kickin' Jesus, man.
Well, like we said earlier, Madame Blavatsky said that he was an ascended master. And we talked that ascended masters were basically humans who had taken the sixth initiation, also referred to as ascension, and thereby believed to be capable of dwelling in a sixth dimension. She also said that Saint Germain told her he was part of an immortal race of beings living underneath the Himalayas.
That tracks.
Yeah. I mean, if he was an immortal race of beings, that assumes also that there are more of them, which there have never been anything written about them that I know of. I mean, honestly, there's probably something written about it. Gil's giving me the one finger, so there might be something written about them.
Pretty much every time the Bible talks about humanity, back during, I guess, to quote Darwin, the origin of the species, right? So like every time the Bible talks about the origin of humanity in like the early days, humans are referenced as living in the 5, 6, 7, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Oh, true.
I forget off the top of my head how long Noah was supposed to have lived. I think it was like 300 or 400 years, if not more.
I think 500.
It was an insane amount of time. This comes from the Book of Enoch and the fallen angels and yada yada yada, where it's like angels came down and they're like, human ladies are fun. Like, dude, you see that thought? Yeah, like, and they just like ran over there and did some Zeus-style shit on a bunch of human ladies, and then it became a hybrid race and yada yada yada. But I'm just saying, like, the early Christianity, it was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years was like the normal age to live. Now, take that exact same thing, early Buddhism, the non-Buddha Dharma, right? So the non-Dharma versions of Buddhism, they they reflected like the Buddhas would live for hundreds, if not thousands of years. There's a lot of religions and a lot of faiths and a lot of spiritual beliefs, and, you know, find your word that makes you happy for the label. There's a lot of those, thoughts, right, that are out there that say that people live for hundreds, if not thousands of years back in the day, but then that changed at some point. That was Kyuchi's theory around heavy water, or sorry, ancient water, heavy water, something else. That was Kyuchi's theory about around ancient water and like life. The Atlanteans lived for hundreds and thousands of years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But then the moon came in and fucked all that shit up. They brought that Flint, Michigan shit in here. Fucked everything up with its moon lead pipes. But this connects. That's all I'm saying. This connects with a lot of world religions and like origin beliefs. That's the end of my Gil talk.
Beautiful. Loved it. As well as being called an immortal race of beings, Saint Germain was also linked to being the famous alchemist Nicholas Flamel, who created the Philosopher's Stone.
The falafel.
The falafel stone. It's a new restaurant idea. Trademark.
It's the philosophical stone.
The philosophical stone. Oh, dude, the philosophical stone is a new restaurant idea.
That is the perfect falafel restaurant or chain. Honestly, let's go big. Go big or not afford your home. That's what I always say. That is the perfect chain for two white dudes living in Asheville.
Yes, it really is.
To open and sell falafel openly without judgment is the philosophical stone.
Yes. Dude, money on top of money, I think.
Then after that, we're going to open up another restaurant. Perfect pair. It'll be like the Pizza Hut Taco Bell, right? It'll be called We're All Humans and Hummus. And people will be like, what the fuck are these two white dudes selling hummus? This is cultural appropriation. But by the time they got to that point in judgment, they would have literally had to say out loud, we're all humans. And hummus is a we are God, this is
we're breaking
like
ground.
with the right name, no, better than that, my man. With the right name, you set a trap door for your haters so that every fucking time they say some shit, they inherently look fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I love it.
And by the
philosophical stone and We're All Humans in Hummus. Opening up next July.
2025.
Near the KFC on Patton.
Well, it would make sense that he created the Philosopher's Stone because he looked 45 years old all the time, right? Like, that kind of, that tracks. Well, both of their stories also kind of parallel in a way. Nicholas Flamel was an alchemist who far surpassed the knowledge of his time and was well renowned among the people of his time, though it honestly wouldn't be until the 1700s that he would be described as an actual amazing alchemist, which was when Saint Germain was making waves. So maybe let me make another theory to add on to this theory. If he was Nicholas Flamel, and he did create the Philosopher's Stone and became immortal, what if he just sat there waiting and was like, someone's gonna recognize my awesomeness. Someone's gonna see what I've done. I'm living. I'm doing great. My alchemy's everywhere. Any day now. Any day now. Any day now. And then nothing happens. And he's like, what the fuck? And so he changes to Saint Germain and then writes a newspaper article about how great an alchemist Nicholas Flamel was.
So Saint Germain was the 16, 17, 18, and 1900s equivalent of an industry plant. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes. Yeah.
That seems like a lot of work.
What else is he doing?
Like, that seems like, I'm just saying, sorry if this is too much.
Sure.
Better question. What else did he do by literally going back in time and doing all this other shit? That's all I'm saying. He did a lot of other shit. Although, like, here's the part that fucks with me. That's not the vibe of Saint Germain.
No, he never boasted for himself. No, for sure not.
He never came across as egotistical. That was part of his charm. That was part of him being so goddamn, like, endearing and him.
Yeah, because he never smoozed people. Yeah, they smoozed him.
Not even schmoozing his way up, but being schmoozed all the way up, right? You know, like, he was so, you know, just, like, magnetically attractive in terms of hitting all the right notes in the ways that people, you know, become disarmed and trust someone. And he never took advantage of that. And egomaniacal time-traveling alchemist, like, I don't know, that doesn't really fit the bill to me, or it doesn't really fit the beak.
Yeah. The way I like to see it is he was... the way I like to see it, and I like to call Saint Germain, is he was never calling, always called upon. Because he never came to a person to be like, hey, can you hang out with me? They're always like, can you come be with me? Like, they asked him everywhere he went.
Yeah.
He never was, like, begging. And I think that also added into his magnetism from people. Is that...
Like Morrissey.
You know? Yeah. And it's the kind of... What would you say? It's the kind of... what are kids nowadays? Ironic. It's very like the ironic part of it. Like, he's changing his name, right? So he's changed his name a few times. He went through a couple other names that were barely mentioned maybe one time. They weren't really even worth mentioning.
Like the American.
Yeah, the American. He was called the American. Some people called him Francis Bacon. There was also a recent appearance of a man claiming to be Saint Germain in 1972 in Paris. So this is kind of recent. This man's name was Richard Chanfrey. This Richard Chanfrey claimed to be the Count in modern day, and then he appeared on French television. Supposedly on TV, he turned lead into gold with a camp stove.
Like a Coleman grill?
Yeah, like a Coleman grill. No joke. Now, I couldn't actually find the video of him doing this.
This sounds like he just cooked meth on TV.
I mean... God. Well, sadly, after this drug era, Richard Chanfrey committed suicide in 1983.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, I do not think this. I think that ends it to where I don't think he was the next version of Saint Germain. Sadly, well, to be fair, I don't think we'll ever know what or who Saint Germain really is and was. He was a person who, for at least 100 years, provably popped up in random parts of European history. He generally was looked on as a nice person and just a jack of all trades. Saint Germain was no Kiyuchi. We're gonna go ahead and preface it with that for sure, because he really didn't do anything to help out humanity with his time travels. I think for sure he was just more like every one of us. I feel like he just tried to help people at first, thinking like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pick my head up and we're actually gonna change history. And then he tried a couple of times and then just went, fuck, this sucks. I'm just going to fucking hang out with friends and start partying and just do whatever I want and just randomly pop up in history, which is what he did. And honestly, isn't that really what life is all about? Partying with friends. And that's what Saint Germain did. Thank you for listening to part 2 of Saint Germain. We are done with Time Traveler Month Extended, and we'll see you next week with another fun topic. Before we hop off, though, we did want to say we wanted to give a heartfelt, extended, loving sorry to our buddy, one of our listeners, you know who you are, about the passing of your loving partner and friend and your dog. We love you, buddy. You got this, and thank you for listening and being part of everything we do. And it's going to be all good, but okay.
We love you. It's okay to feel. It's okay to hurt. But more importantly, it's okay to heal. And the reason why you love the person in your life that you lost is because they reminded you every day that it is okay to be happy. And so in their honor, I think it's a good idea to remember that. The best way to honor the ones that you lost is to remember that they wanted you to be so happy. So,
we love you, bud.
Love you, man. Yeah.
Bye.
It was just like 25 minutes of just Herbert
Walking.
coming in and just fucking setting it up so that they're like, I do believe this brandy's hitting a little strong tonight. And it's like, I think he's trying to mesmerize me. It's 45 minutes trying to get in there. Just anything possible to not pay for the child support.
And it burns it down.
The whole time, Saint Germain's just over there with Napoleon just being like, look, I know you love her. All right, I know you love her, but it's not going to work out, and you're totally going to have to hook up with the little kid. He's just like, that's not what I wanted. It's like, I don't care if it's what you want. It's what's going to happen. Also, I've been there. You don't want to go there. Where? Russia. What? How did you know about that? Dude, literally, you guys are just... Are you serious? It's been like months. You've just been working in that direction. You are a time traveler. Yeah, the whole time, Herbert in the background just trying to fucking...
Trying anything but burning it down. He's like,
Yeah.
Fuck it.
It just... Eventually, it's just Herbert with his little fucking wing just flipping a torch onto the roof.
Yeah,
but in
yeah.
actuality, it's just a fucking match.
Yeah. And Saint Germain and Herbert...
I know, we gotta go!
Saint Germain and Herbert are just looking at it from the far, and they're just like... I smell burning. Herbert, he got a fire. Oh my God. Fried
You were a girl.
chicken.
No.
Fried chicken.
Oh, no. Wait a second, Herb. What did you sleep on top of last night in your herbal bath? You can never tell anyone of this. I have an idea. Yes, we'll get you to the medics immediately, but I need to write this down. So you said there was 9 herbs and spices you slept on top of last night. I would have never guessed. It's good for your skin, you say. I noticed you never had acne. I always thought it was genetics. Anyone can do it.
And we'll call it Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Wait. Well, I have an idea. Okay, but we can't tell anybody. We'll call it Can't Tell Anybody Fried Chicken. Exactly. Can't tell anybody fried chicken. Kentucky. Yeah, Kentucky. That'll be our code word.
Yes, Kentucky.
It's our safe word. It's the word used to get into the safe with the recipe. Meanwhile, the fucking drunk ass guards that are all fucked up are just like,
they're just watching this happen.
You ever notice how short our commander is? Dude, don't fucking say that. You'll get in trouble. Bro. He's kind of average height. I don't know. He looks kind of small. I could say.
Man, I hope this place burns down. Have you ever thought about when you're at work and you're just like, I hope this place burns down, and then the guards turn around and like, fuck. Oops.
Bro, you hungry too? Yeah, dude. Go for some fried chicken. Me too. Just turns around.
Starving.
Herbert is already at a tiny little cart just fucking selling fried chicken.
Yeah. He's making money
Little
on top of
chef's
money.
hat.
Yeah.
You said your name's the Colonel. I'll take 9. Whatever you got, I'll take 9.
Man, they must have left some pot in that place. I'm feeling starving, man.
Yes, that's right. We can use that special tea we found in India. Yes, I know you want some right now, but we gotta do things. No, you can't add that as a 10th. Okay, maybe sometimes.
Okay. You're saying, okay, we're just going to go off the deep end. You're saying you want Coke? Coca-Cola. Oh, you're going to call it Coca-Cola. Oh, Coke. Oh. Let's get this train back on the, let's get this train right back on the rails after that.
Right after the Coke joke, you want to get back on the rails. All right, let's do
Yeah,
this.
because I got to take a sip. Because that was my terrible joke that went off the deep end.
There'll be cricket sounds later. No, I'm just kidding.
Perfect. That won't even be in there.